say the prayer. हमें अपने मन को हमेशा संतुलित रखना है। इसी में हमारा आत्म विकास समाया हुआ है। वै मे सर्वं ओम ओम आत्मनि मे त्वं ओम ओम स्मारे स्मारे ओम ओम चित्तं शामय शामय ओम स्मराणि सोऽहं ओम ओम शान्तं चिन्मयम् ओम तटस्थं केवलम् ओम स्मराणि शुद्धम् ओम। Okay. So we are moving to the last sutra of chapter 3, Vibhuti Par. And this sutra is talking about the ultimate final goal of yoga, that is Kaivalya. So sutra reads, Sattva Purushayoho Shuddhi Samye Kaivalyamiti. The meaning is, बुद्धि सत्व तथा पुरुष का शुद्धि द्वारा साम्य या शुद्धि साम्य होने पर कैवल्य होता है। The English translation is, when through purity resemblance is established between buddhi sattva and purusha, liberation takes place. So in a way, this sutra is really laying down a fundamental principle that what is liberation? Liberation is purity of buddhi, which is equivalent to purusha. If that is attained, then liberation will be definitely attained. That is the suggestion given. So this is like, laboratory experiment is being talked about. Often yoga has been conceived and yoga has been talked about as various things. One of the way yoga is understood is it is a perfect science, the perfect science of mind and mind functioning. So like, in laboratory, when we are conducting some kind of experiments, so for example, if we are in a chemical laboratory and we want to experiment, then certain methodology is given and certain material is provided. If the material is there and methodology is followed and proper instruments are there, then one gets the desired result, which is very, very predictable. The predictability is the key issue. Now, there is a certain amount of predictability in yoga science also. So, yogi says that if you do this, this will happen. If you do this, this will happen. So, here the suggestion is, if the mind becomes pure, the liberation will come. Now, the problem is that the mind is not pure. As we are, our instruments are very faulty. Dr. Jaydev always used to talk about the faulty instruments we have. We have the mind, but we hardly understand things. We have the capacity for knowledge, but we hardly have right kind of knowledge. We are always getting caught up into the wrong kind of knowledge. And the indication, what is the indication that we are having wrong knowledge? What is the indication that based on wrong knowledge, our actions are wrong, our conclusions are wrong? What is the indication for that? The pain, the suffering. So whenever we suffer in life, whenever we go through pain in life, when we face setbacks, or when we go through difficulties in life, we get frustrations, we get stuck up, we are not able to move forward, we are not able to think correctly, we are always confused. Now, all these are indications that somewhere the knowledge is not correct. If the knowledge was correct, then these things, these kind of experiences will not come. The fact that we day in, day out, we are facing these kind of experiences, even at the physical level, at the health level, at the emotional level, we are facing so many problems. There's a lot of confusion, and all these difficulties which we face in life, they have been they have been stated very beautifully in a very generalized form, in the form of Antarayas. Vyadhi, Sthana, Sanshaya, Pramad, Alasya, Avirati, Bhranti Darshan, Alabdha Bhumikatva, Anavasthitattvani. These are the 9 obstacles, and along with that, there are 4 symptoms: uncontrolled breathing, uncontrolled body, the disturbance in the body, disturbance in the breathing. And all these indications are there that there is a trouble. And this trouble is there because the buddhi is not pure, the mind is not pure. And because it is not pure, it is not able to acquire right kind of knowledge. It is always getting caught into the wrong kind of knowledge. And as a result, it is suffering. And there are other indications which are given in the sutras, which are telling us about the problems we are facing, which are kleshas: avidya, asmita, rag, dvesh, abhinivesh. So these are the kleshas which are there. Now these are also impurities in a way, because what is the function of kleshas? Very briefly, we are taking an overview of the entire yoga process. So what is the role of the kleshas? Kleshas are those structures in our personality which distorts our perception, which give us wrong perception. So anything which will distort our perception, which will not allow us to have right knowledge, is what is klesha. As simple as that. So if you have to define klesha, klesha is that which doesn't allow us to see the truth, which doesn't allow us to see the reality. So now entire process of yoga we have been discussing, chapter 2, chapter 3, one we have discussed. Entire process of yoga is such that somewhere it is enabling us, empowering us to get rid of some of the impurities like correct thinking, even the disease management at the physical level, emotion management, mind management, and that thereby mental health. So all the areas which are trouble creating areas, those are being addressed by the various techniques of yoga. So we saw that yamas and niyamas are there. Yamas and niyamas are working on those personality factors which are creating pain and suffering for us. All negative emotions, all negative mental states, they are there. They are taken care of by yamas. Aklishta vrittis, positive states, are generated by niyamas. Asanas are taking care of the energy factor and the physical factor. Pranayam is taking care of the emotional factor as well as energy factor. Pratyahara is taking care of the senses. And then coming to the mind, dharana, dhyan, samadhi. So for that, various techniques have been suggested in yoga, and all the purpose of yoga, we have to understand very simple way it is, that we have to understand when we are practicing yoga, every time we should ask ourselves at what level the impurity is coming down. In what way impurity is being destroyed or weakened. If the impurity is being weakened and destroyed, then we are being empowered. We will be physically in a better state, mentally in a better state, emotionally in a better state. We will be in control of our thoughts. We will be in control of our mind. And to that extent, our actions also will be of the controlled kind. We will not indulge into wrong kind of actions, because we indulge in wrong kind of actions or detrimental actions. detrimental to our well-being because the wrong thinking is there. So when we don't indulge in those kind of actions, automatically we are empowered, and day by day, every day we enjoy better and better states of mind. This is what is suggested. So impurities can be seen in various ways. At the physical level, we know that when a child is born, an infant is born. Now, an infant is programmed to be healthy. A child, when it is born, is programmed to be healthy. When it becomes sick, when some impurities are there, some toxins are there in the body. Without toxins, body cannot become sick. Without toxins, there's no possibility of body becoming sick. Only when the toxins are there, the body becomes sick. And these toxins can also be seen in the form of imbalance in the three doshas, Vata, Pitta, Kapha. If they are in balance, body will be healthy. What does it mean that there is an imbalance in the Vata dosha, Vata, Pitta, Kapha? It is imbalance is nothing but impurity. It is caused by impurity. So it begins from the physical level, that it goes on deeper into our personality. At the mental level, whenever we are suffering from some kind of negative emotions like fear is there, hatred is there, anger is there, resentment is there, guilt is there, all these are impure emotions, and they create impure mental states. Impure emotions will create negative emotions, will create negative mental states, and they will create mental illness, they'll create mental problems. So we see, and through yoga, we can eliminate all these negativities. That's why you'll find right at the beginning, Patanjali says, Yogas Chitta Vritti Nirodha. And vrittis, what are the vrittis? Vrittis are the mental states. Whatever we are thinking, our thoughts are our vrittis. And if these are klishta, then lots of pain is there. If these are aklishta, then we grow, then we evolve, then we progress, then we develop. So we are developing from impurity to purity. That is the process of yoga. And then at deeper level, when we see in terms of gunas, sattva is the important guna which is responsible for acquiring right knowledge. But often, although sattva is predominant in our minds, but because of the presence of tamasic attitudes, rajasic attitudes, what is rajas? Agitation. What is tamas? Obscurity, obstruction, heaviness, obsession. It's a kind of restriction, getting stuck. Whenever we are getting stuck in anything in life, it is tamas which is responsible. Whenever we are agitated and we are not able to think correctly, it is rajas. So the more yoga is practiced, the more control over the rajas and tamas element comes, and sattva becomes pure. When sattva becomes pure, then sattva is buddhi only. So the words in Sutra, sattva purushayo shuddhi same kaivalyam. Sattva, sattva is buddhi only. So sattva is responsible for knowing, understanding, acquiring knowledge. So when sattva becomes pure, the correct knowledge is acquired. Like that, when we see weakening of the kleshas is also there. So at various levels, we can talk about this particular idea at various levels. So when we talk about mental states, the dross of tamas and rajas, if it is reduced, then purity of buddhi is increased. When the weakening of the kleshas is taking place and they are brought to the bij avastha, then there is an increase in ekagrata or concentration, and one is really now about to acquire samadhi. That is what happens. Abhyasa is what? Abhyasa is nothing but reducing the kleshas, reducing the impurities. When abhyasa is carried out, right knowledge comes, and with right knowledge, vairagya automatically comes. Person is attached, a person is obsessed, a person is kind of infatuated, because there is no correct understanding. Once the understanding comes, then there is a liberation, there is a freedom, and this freedom is what is vairagya. A person has got total detachment from things. He doesn't get bound to things. He doesn't get that clinging attachment to things which will create pain. So he becomes liberated from that. Same way, klishta are reduced. Now, klishta and aklishta is a simple principle. Throughout the day, whatever kind of thoughts we are having, That will tell us whether our thoughts are klishta or they are a klishta. Very often we feel irritations, we feel weak, we feel negative emotions. That means the klishta vrittis are predominant. But throughout the day, if we can enjoy a certain amount of peace, certain amount of confidence, certain amount of strength, certain amount of reassurance that everything is fine, everything is going on well. If these kind of mental states are there, definitely there is a movement towards purity. This we can understand. So again, that purity is taking place at that level. Less negative and destructive thoughts will be there. Less destructive mental states will be there. All those mental states which we are normally hooked to, which are negative. For example, a person is habituated to anger, or he is habituated to some kind of negative thinking of self-doubt, self, it is a kind of self-doubt all the time. Some kind of sanshaya is always there. Now, these are very weak kind of states. So they will never help the individual to grow. So as one is progressing in yoga, one has to ensure that these negative emotions are reduced. When the reduction is there, automatically there will be a positive states of mind. And these states nurture us. That doesn't mean that challenges go away. See, we have to understand. When we are practicing yoga, it doesn't mean that life will not throw challenges, we will not face difficulties. That is not the idea. The idea is that whenever the challenges will come, whenever the difficulties will come, we will be able to deal with them. We will be able to handle them without getting disturbed, without creating any harm to ourselves. Normally, when we get angry, that anger not only destroys the present situation, but it is also creating a lot of havoc in our personality. At physical level, toxins are generated, the stress hormones are released in the body, they damage the body. At mental level, lot of nervous system agitation is there, so it is creating lot of agitation in nervous system. So once one negative emotion like anger, it can destroy a lot in our personality. It can, take us back. It can pull us down. If one can handle that, then one can really enjoy better states of mind where he can see that the body is becoming strong, the mind is becoming strong. So this is how the purity can be measured. All these are parameters of measuring the purity, whether we are becoming pure or not. Now, science and biology has established very clearly that body becomes disease only when there's impurity. Without toxins, nothing can go wrong. Toxins are there, so the problems are there. And toxins body generates. How body generates toxins? Because of the negative emotions. One negative emotion and it can generate a lot of stress producing hormones in the body, which will affect the muscles, which will affect the blood circulation, which will affect the endocrine system. So these negative emotions create these kind of reactions in the body. As one is purifying the mind, all these negative emotions will go on becoming less and less. And then finally, when the kleshas are completely eliminated, they are completely brought under control, then what happens is an insight into the reality is there. Then the buddhi realizes that ultimately it is not my power of consciousness, but the consciousness of Purusha is there, which is responsible for everything. Now, when that realization comes, when that understanding comes, then one can say that Buddhi and Purusha has become equally pure. And when that happens, automatically the liberation will take place. So this is the whole idea. Now here, as I told you, it is a mechanical principle kind of thing which is being laid down. Purity. So we have discussed about chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3, all siddhis and other things. Is it necessary for a person to go through the process of hard yoga and the siddhis? Not at all. Not at all. Even if we don't look at the siddhis, we don't think about the siddhis, we are just working on the purity of the mind. We don't have to understand the very complicated concepts which are there in the siddhis. But we just go on purifying our mind. A stage will come when, without even thinking about siddhis, the purity can be gained. So siddhis are not a necessary part of yoga. They are byproduct and they have been just mentioned. Why they are mentioned? Because human mind is very curious. Human mind gets drawn to the siddhis. So to put everything in perspective, Patanjali has given this big list of siddhis, and he has given this entire methodology here. But it is not necessary that we have to go through the siddhis. Otherwise, in this entire world, the person who does not do yoga, is there no chance for him to attain liberation? No. There are other ways of attaining purity, like a person who's God oriented, who's worshipper, who's all the time thinking about God. So his bhakti could be a way by which he can attain that purity. He doesn't have to go through the rigors and the difficult part of yoga is a difficult part, because continuously one has to monitor his mind. It is like they say that yoga is like walking on the razor edge, and it is a fact, because one mistake and we are gone. So the path of yoga is very difficult, but bhakti is quite easy. So Vyasa has very clearly told, he is telling us that it is not necessary to go through the rigor of siddhis. If you attain the purity, you can attain liberation. That is the idea. So there is hope for every living human being to attain liberation if only the purification can take place. And when we talk about this, you look at the ways of the mystic. What they do, be it Christian mystics or Hindu mystic or Sufis, what they talk about, the essential part of mysticism is what? Purification. They purify their mind. So the very first step in the mysticism, in the bhakti, is purification of mind. जितनी ज्यादा भक्ति रहेगी उतना भक्त का मन जो है वो शुद्ध होता जाएगा. जितना मन की शुद्धि बढ़ते जाएगी उतना उसको ईश्वर की अनुभूति होती जाएगी. और मन जब पूरी तरह शुद्ध हो जाएगा तो उसको पूरी तरह से उच्चतम अनुभूति हो जाएगी. So that is the principle which is being laid down here. Now I will just like to read a passage from Doctor's writing so that things will be in right perspective in one sentence, one paragraph. So I read that the process of yoga, whether beginning from Abhyasa and Vairagya or Kriya Yoga or the Eightfold Path of Patanjali's Yoga, ultimately works on overcoming limitations and defects. The Muda Chitta becomes Shipta. The defects are overcome. The tamasic qualities are reduced. Pure Sattva shines forth. Sattva is the purest state of knowing. Naturally, false knowledge of avidya is overcome. One does not get identified with false knowledge. Simultaneously, with purification of the buddhi component in us, the pure awareness components also gets freed. Awareness now has become aware of itself and knows itself instead of the imperfect things like matter and material objects, which are all defective. Purusha or pure awareness gets established in itself. It does not identify and suffer. This is kaivalya or aloofness or freedom. Along with this, I'll read the comments by Swami Hariharananda Aranya, which will again very clearly tell us what is meant by this entire thing. So, when Buddhi Sattva becomes pure as Purusha, the two appear alike. It leads to achievement of Kaivalya or liberation. This purity and likeness do not by themselves constitute Kaivalya, but are the cause of its attainment. Buddhi likeness through purity implies likeness of the purity of Purusha. When Chitta is established in the unalloyed knowledge, I am Purusha, then Buddhi or pure essence resembles Purusha. As Purusha is pure and free from all contexts, Buddhi appears to be like that. This is the purity of Buddhi Sattva and its resemblance to Purusha. When Buddhi becomes like Purusha, it ceases functioning. Therefore, in ordinary parlance, has to be said that Purusha, who was appearing as Buddhi, now looks like himself. That is Kaivalya or liberation. In the state of Kaivalya, Purusha remains in himself and the functioning of the Buddhi ceases. Therefore, on attainment of Kaivalya, no change of state takes place in Purusha, only Buddhi ceases to function. So the Kaivalya is explained here that buddhi stops functioning. That is what is kaivalya. So mind disengages from the worldly activities or all actions, and mind as if withdraws itself. And Purusha is separated, Buddhi is separated. So what is Kaivalya? It is dysfunction of the Buddhi or stoppage of the Buddhi. So these ideas we have discussed when we were talking about Nirodha Samadhi, Samprajnata Samadhi, Asamprajnata Samadhi. But here, only thing which we need to understand is, that purity is taking place. So this will become clear from one example. If we have a mirror and we hold the mirror here and there's a torch, if we throw the light of the torch in the mirror, the light will be reflected back and it will fall at some place. It will go on falling in whichever direction we are turning the mirror. The source of light is in the torch. But if we show that mirror to somebody, person will think that the light is coming from the mirror because he is not able to see the torch. The light is coming from the torch, but he is not able to see the torch. He is only seeing that light is emanating from the mirror. So he will think that the light is coming from the mirror. Something similar happens to the buddhi. Buddhi is like a mirror, very pure, very reflective, made of pure sattva. So the light of Purusha, when it shines on the buddhi, buddhi throws that light in all directions, and the false impression is created that the buddhi is consciousness. Buddhi has become conscious. But buddhi is not conscious. Buddhi is made up of three gunas: sattva, rajas, and tamas. So when sattva becomes purified, then as if what happens in the level of purity, this sutra is talking about the purity, equal purity between buddhi and purusha. So what will happen? As if the mirror is there and the torch, now torch is directly in face of the mirror. And whatever light is coming from the mirror, that is falling on the torch, and whatever light is there in the torch, that is falling on the mirror. So now there is no other object to illuminate. There is no other object on which the light is thrown. So as if the buddhi, which is in the mirror, is knowing the Purusha, and Purusha, which is in the torch, is knowing the buddhi. So when they know each other, that is the ultimate state of purity. And when they know each other, the liberation takes place. That is what is moksha. This is the theory of yoga, that ultimately what is moksha? Moksha is when they both become so pure that ultimately there is no activity left in the buddhi. Buddhi is withdrawing because buddhi has seen that who is Purusha, what is the reality. And once this reality is seen, then there is no continuation of life. There is no continuation of so-called normal life, where person is guided by the kleshas. When we look at ourselves, all the time we are guided by kleshas, day in, day out, all 24 hours of the day. All our actions and thoughts are guided by kleshas. So if one can become free from there, then there's no need for action. There's nothing to be attained. Ultimately, a person realizes, in Sankhya Karika, very beautifully three words are used. Ultimate knowledge, which has been talked about in Sankhya Karika, they say, Name Naham Na Asmi. Name Naham Na Asmi. I am nobody. I am not owning anything. I am not the actor. I am not the doer. All that realization comes to the buddhi. So just like, in case of a bhakta sees that God is the doer of everything. The ultimate realization of bhakti is that he realizes that he is nothing. Everything which is happening in the world is happening because of the agency of God. When a person realizes that, then all the ego, all the kleshas, they just dismantle and they fall down. Because one knows the reality, one knows who's the real doer. So same way, in yogi also recognizes that it is the pure consciousness which was responsible for all the things which were being experienced, all the problems, all the pain, all experiences, in fact. So once this realization comes, then there is no reason for the person to continue. Then that is the state where one becomes mukta, one becomes liberated. So that is what the sutra says. Now, if there are questions, today we have kept the discussion a little short. So if there are questions, we can take them and then we'll conclude. Some of you can put up, you can put on the videos. If there are questions.
Sir, at one point you said that the toxins are released because of negative emotion.
Yeah.
It's not because of the wrong diet or something else?
Yeah, diet. If the diet is toxic, then toxins are directly going in the body.
Okay, but it can come because of wrong emotions also.
Yeah,
The wrong thoughts.
if you see how the stress, how the HPA axis, as they called in stress management, whenever any negative emotions is there, or when fear grips our mind, immediately there is a change taking place in the endocrine system, and certain hormones are released in body. Now those hormones are normally good for our body if the action is carried out which is suitable, but normally that is not the case. For example, lot of energy is in your body, but you are not carrying out any action. So where that energy will go? So it turns harmful to the body.
Okay.
Lot of agitation is generated in the nervous system, and you're not able to attain peace of mind. Now that agitation is going to weaken the body. So that is a kind of toxins which is generated in the body because of the negative emotions.
So vice versa, if my mind is calm, we can reduce the toxins from the body.
Yeah. Automatically they will be reduced. Body will function at optimum level where and toxins will be removed. When body is healthy, it will remove the toxins.
Okay. So you don't need detoxification diet for that.
See, it depends on what kind of state mind is it. This is a general principle. If you talk to an expert, he will look at your body, he will talk to you, he will ask questions, what symptoms you have, what kind of problems you have. Accordingly, he will decide what is the course of action for you.
Correct. Got it. Thank you,
Yeah.
sir.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I think Ajay had answered very nicely 2 sessions back towards the conclusion, where he said that, he expressed that, he cannot go beyond a certain capacity. But you told him that, if you're doing all these things, like walking and sleeping on time and eating the proper food and eating in less quantity and meditating and doing pranayam and doing asana and all that, you are on that path already. That was a very reassuring answer. And I firmly believe that because we are doing that for whatever 37, 38, 39 years, I am myself talking only for myself, that what stress I am going through right now. But me and Sharad are able to handle it very nicely, without major physical and mental setbacks. It's only because the Dhara Iti Dharma, the duty has supported us and kept us mentally strong. And this Vibhuti Path session has been very, very enlightening. There are many things which were clarified, We may not remember all the terminology, but the essence has been imbibed. And one is very careful about, one has always been very careful about following yamas and niyamas. And even, it can be a very silly thing that we don't even say things like, oh, I'll call you back in 2 minutes. If you know that you cannot call back in 2 minutes, not to even say that. Or if Sharat calls me and asks me, where have you reached? I'll say near Vadala Ram Mandir. I'm really near Vadala Ram Mandir. One has become, what should I say, like fine-tuned, completely fine-tuned. Like if you want to catch radio station 94.3 Red FM, how you go on fine-tuning in the car till you get that particular frequency. The mind is working on that frequency. And I think hats off to the Sutra session, and that has really sharpened all these rough edges.
That's nice.
So very well said, I guess. Priyamada ji, जो आपने बोला, sir, isn't it that like, any setbacks, like if you're following the path of yoga, setbacks actually, comes for all this purification only, or वो ज़्यादा आते हैं, like because it just want to make us pure in this lifetime, like जितना भी हो सके, जितना भी साधना कर सके. तो I guess वो जितने ज़्यादा आते हैं, तो that is actually coming for us good. How we take it and how we deal with it all depends on our practice.
Practice. Very true. Very true.
We can go and return for the feasting immediately.
Any more questions?
No question, but one request.
Yeah.
When are we starting the next? I know this is the last sutra.
Yeah.
My only humble request and submission is please don't keep too much gap in the next session. We really look forward to this. Many of us, at least me, we really look forward to this. It's a long journey for us, but these kind of doses, weekly doses, help us a lot. So you're doing a lot of good work, maybe to a limited number of people. But my humble request is let's continue this. We'd like to benefit from your wisdom, your knowledge, whatever Dr. Saab has imparted onto you. It really helps. So please consider that, sir.
Yeah. We'll take a little break, but then let's see when we can start. The sooner we can.
Please, sir. Thank you.
Yeah. Very true.
So even I have the same request that we have never studied this Hariharananda Aranya's book so much in detail.
Yeah.
Every week one sutra was a very nice style to teach.
Yeah.
Otherwise, too many things were cramped up, and like you said, that the goal is not siddhi, goal is samadhi finally.
Yeah.
These are only the byproducts. So इतना अच्छे से आपने समझाया है ना sir, I'm feeling so good. Because कितने बार ये पढ़े हैं सूत्र, every time you are getting some new insight and the correct perception, is brought out by your lectures. So I feel very happy to learn these sutras all over again with you. So really, please don't keep a gap. Because छोटे छोटे जो चीजें होते हैं ना, जैसे mind receptive होने के बाद ऐसे एक्स्ट्रा सेंसरी परसेप्शन, जैसे हमको लगता है क्लैरवोयंस या टेलीपैथी कि अरे हमको कुछ सिद्धि जैसे फीलिंग आने लगा है, बट देयर इज अ लॉन्ग वे टू गो. आई डोंट नो वेदर वी हैव क्रॉस दैट ब्रिज फ्रॉम बहिरंग टू अंतरंग. लिटिल बिट रूडिमेंटरी धारणा हो जाती है बैठ के, बट दैट ऑल्सो वी डोंट नो हाउ profound it is to take us really through this journey. So listening to your lectures also, we get engaged and fully concentrated and feel good.
We are able to stay on the path, correct Alka?
True, really.
I mean, गाड़ी पटरी से उतरती होती है,
जाती है वो
हर
निकल
हफ्ता सुन के टॉनिक मिल के गाड़ी पटरी पे वापस आ जाती है.
और हर बार
And what she said is so true. We don't know what level we have reached, but there is a certain kind of intuition where you're able to distinguish the right from the wrong, even the person's body language, approach, and then we listen to the voice of the conscience and the decision is not wrong.
Sir, also if you're taking any other class besides the sutra, please let us know on this group. Whoever is interested can at least join.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anything else, Bhagavad Gita, I don't know, whatever thing, because it becomes so simple for us.
Yeah, I'll let you know. Now to tell you the truth, I was actually I had decided to take a break from teaching for some time.
Please don't. Please take breaks in between. You can take one Thursday off, 2 Thursdays off, 3 Thursdays off, but don't please take a break.
I'll take a short break and then we'll come back. We'll see. For some time at least the break is needed, so I will take the break. But surely we'll start. I think chapter 4 is remaining, so we'll see when we can start that. Yeah. And Ashish, I'll let you know something else is there.
No,
Please,
not
sir.
Ashish, all of us on the group.
Yeah.
Anything, sir, that you're doing, I'm sure we'll all find value.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We'll
okay.
all find time because we are all very interested.
Okay, I'll let you.
And Shakku is joining in from California. What time is it, Shakku? Unmute karo na, Boba.
Yeah, 7:10.
7:10. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm traveling actually, so.
Yeah. So she's joining from California. So it's.
Okay. That's
I mean,
nice.
even when I'm at Seattle, I join. I get up at 5:30 and I join.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean,
that's
this is food for us.
okay.
Anna Brahma, if you say, then this is the Brahma.
Okay. No, we'll start something surely. So, any more observations or any questions? Otherwise, we can conclude.
Not a question, but basically what happens in this liberation, what you talked about,
Yeah.
is basically the knowledge is gained, and as a result, you realize that there is nothing much, which is, I mean, you get the purest form, and that only itself leads to the moksha, right?
Yeah.
That knowledge, the jnana which comes in, what you spoke of, Buddhi
Yeah.
Sattva. But that is what it is, right?
Right.
So then there is nothing like this thing is there or that thing is there. It's everything is existing.
Yeah.
Correct?
Yeah. Everything
That
goes
is
on.
yeah.
There is a sutra also. Katartham pratinashtam apyanashtam tadanya sadharanatva. The one who has attained moksha, for him everything ceases, but for other people it continues the way it is.
Correct.
One who's not interested in anything, for him what will be the importance of things? Nothing, because he's not interested. He doesn't want anything. So what is there, it doesn't matter to him. So for him it doesn't. It is not. He's not affected by anything. He has become aloof. He has become secular in that. He's not all by himself. That is what is kaivalya. So nothing affects, nothing disturbs. But for others, those who are interested, for them the world will continue.
Body exists, so everything else exists.
Everything else exists. As long as, so that will be like Jivan Mukta.
Yes.
So Jivan Mukta would be, he'll not interested, but because the sanskaras are there, the body is there, the world exists. But once the body is lost, then even that will be gone.
Correct.
Even that will be gone. Yeah. Nanai-san, any questions? Gautami, any questions?
Once there was a very big group of philosophers, and so everyone is very knowledgeable and done lots of sadhana, and so Jesus was there, and I don't know how many of us have heard this, and they happened to ask Jesus, who will enter your kingdom? So he looked at everyone, and then he picked up a small child, and then it said, he will enter my kingdom. So I think a child is very happy, very pure. So I think if we can become like a child, childlike, pure, which this sutra also talks about, we can be happy. And I think for us, I think that could be a goal, like, to be happy always. Sometimes we are happy, but to be happy always is quite challenging.
Yeah. Yes.
I think this childlike thing also comes according to the karmas, because Sharvari is working in the neonatal cancer research department, where children are born with the cancer and they have to be immediately administered with stem cell therapy and plasma and all that. So, they're just born. I mean, what have they done to get that kind of suffering? So the ultimate answer also lies in karmas. I really believe in everything is according to karmas. So the only thing we can do is heyam dukham managatam.
Yeah.
Satark.
There's a lot of material, lot of food has been provided. So one has to chew on it, because, when the sutras are going on at rapid speed, lots of new ideas, lots of knowledge is arising. But then the essential thing is abhi shravan bahut ho gaya. See, listening part is already, a lot of listening has taken place. Now what is needed is little contemplation on that, little manan. तो जब मनन होगा तभी वो आचरण में आएगा, तभी वो निधिध्यासन में आएगा. तो जो भी सुना है, now recordings are there, some notes you have made, maybe referring to those notes. Like to tell you the truth, I still refer to doctor's notes sometimes. Long back I had written, maybe 20, 30 years back I have written the notes, but still sometimes I go through those notes just to reflect back or just to, so it really helps. So maybe little more reflection on what was heard, what was, ideas come and they feel also, but they are not retained because we don't think about them. Immediately they appeal. Immediately we feel, yeah, this is good. But then if we don't repeat it, then it will be lost. So a suggestion Dr. Jaydev always used to give, that if you have experienced something good, if some good experience you have really had, then build on that. Go on building on that, deepen it. So suppose if by doing Sukhasana, very practical, by doing meditation, if you feel empowered, if you feel peaceful, if you feel strong, keep doing meditation, repeat it. If by doing asanas you feel physically strong, mentally strong, do asanas. Whatever is helping to become strong, whatever is helping to become better or pure in state, then keep on repeating it, keep on doing it. And that can happen when we do a lot of manan, when we do little contemplation on it. Otherwise, we are caught up in the, now the class is over, something will come immediately, a lot of rush of other things will be there. We'll lose sight of what was heard, what was discussed. So this often happens. So little contemplation is very helpful actually. Okay. Now one more thing which is not very important but important. When we started Sutra discussion, Falguni and many others, they often reminded me that you are not asked for any fees. You are not charged us anything. What is your fees? So that you have to announce. So now there was a purpose why it was done. Now after the class is over, I'll be sending a message on the group that what is to be done with the fees. One first thing is there, the fees is totally voluntary, absolutely voluntary. That is one thing. The other thing is that the fees is not to be paid to me, but this Madhupur ashram is there, Kapil Mutt. Whatever knowledge we have gained about sutras, a large chunk comes from Swami Hariharananda Aranya. Now, after Swami Hariharananda Aranya, there was Swami Dharmamegh Aranya. And now there is Swami Bhaskar Aranya, who is presently the head of the monastery. And that monastery is in a very dilapidated condition now. I don't know what is the financial condition. So I will share the account number of this monastery. So whatever you feel is right, whatever you feel is appropriate, maybe you can send some money to that mutt as a help. So that will be the thing. Some of you, without waiting for these instruction, had already sent me some money. So that is with me. So that those who have shared that, they need not send. But if they, even after that, if they wish, they can voluntarily, if they want to give something. So I'll share that account number, Kapil Mutt account number. Whatever you feel is appropriate, you can just put it there. That will be the last thing. So we leave it here.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you Niranjan.
एक्चुअली जैसे प्रेमवदा जी ने बोला ना, वो गाड़ी पटरी पे लाते हैं, तो प्लीज कंटिन्यू, वी नीड दिस.